He is responsible for the modern resurgence of the cigar box guitar, a once forgotten instrument of American blues and roots music. He has been featured in the LA Times, Guitar World, and premier guitar magazines, and his concert has been featured in the PBS documentary, Songs Inside the Box. Shane Speal, Seduced into Crafting, My Life as a Sound Searcher.
In 2005, a frail Vietnam vet took the stage for the very first time, and he was holding a 4-string cigar box guitar. Boz sang in a quiet, monotone voice because he was shaking with nerves and excitement. He was always wanting to play for others, but he never had the nerve. Until then. Encouraged by an army of cigar box guitar builders and players, Boz would record 6 albums of cigar box guitar music before succumbing to terminal cancer 2 years later. Boz was just one of the many people whose lives were changed by the cigar box guitar. My life was changed. All over the world, people are taking empty wooden boxes and turning them into musical instruments. It's a DIY movement on a musical level. A throwback to simpler times when you can make something instead of buying it at Walmart. The movement is called the Cigar Box Guitar Revolution, and it started in my wood shop. My name's Shane Speal. I'm the king of the cigar box guitar. Ask me how I got this name and I'll tell you that I gave it to myself. I figure if Rebel O'Leary could be the king of the country music, then I can be the king of an instrument nobody cared about anymore. I never meant to be an instrument builder. Instead, I was seduced into carpentry by following a peculiar sound in my head. In the early 90s, I became smitten with blues music, with deep, gritty blues music. With a few trips to the library, I discovered Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf. And then I started searching some more, and I went back to the 1930s with the Mississippi guys like Mississippi John Hurt and Robert Johnson. I kept going back in time, exploring every previous cultural shift of blues music. By the time I was done, I was fully enveloped in gritty old Mississippi Delta music. At this time, I was trying to be a blues guitarist, but I wanted to go one step deeper. That's when I read about poor people in the South that couldn't even afford a cheap guitar from the Sears catalog, so they built their own using empty cigar boxes and sticks. On July 4th, 1993, I built my first cigar box guitar. It was that one step deeper I was looking for. An instrument so primal, it sounded broken even from the beginning. It was the sound I was searching for. Just an empty box, a plank of wood from my dad's barn, and 3 guitar strings. Let me tell you what this guitar was like. Imagine spending your life driving a junky minivan that only does 45 miles an hour at top speed. Then one day a man gives you the keys to his Lamborghini. You turn the key, hit the gas, and tear off like a bat out of hell. That's how I felt when I played my first cigar box guitar. Notes sang out. Music passages that I used to struggle with became easy to play. I felt like Eddie Van Halen. I'd found my instrument and my sound. Wikipedia says, a cigar box guitar is a simple chordophone that uses a cigar box as a resonator. I wrote that entry because there was never any entry on Wikipedia for a cigar box guitar. In the simplest terms, it's a stick jammed through a box with 1 or more strings added. That's it. Blues legend Blind Willie Johnson started out on a 1-string cigar box guitar made by his father. Carl Perkins played a 2-string that his dad made. Carl Perkins went on to write Blue Suede Shoes years later. My cigar box guitars use a 1x2 stick of poplar from Home Depot for the neck. Over the years, I've refined some guitars with license plates and found objects. Yet the guitars I'm building today are very close in design to the ones I started with over 20 years ago. Why? Because I didn't want to lose that sound. But my story doesn't end there. Actually, crafting and sound searching is just the beginning of something bigger. Throughout the late 90s and early 2000s, I started spending more time exploring the internet. It was new and exciting and filled with so much music history. However, there was not one single website out there mentioning cigar box guitars. I slowly realized that my life's obsession, this homemade instrument, was completely forgotten about in music history. So in 2003, I created the internet's first cigar box guitar site with simple instructions on how to build your own. I simply wanted to show the world this instrument. The site started generating emails and questions and excitement and intrigue. I opened up a chat room to start answering questions. A couple years and 4,000 members later, I opened up a proper social network called cigarboxnation.com. The instrument was going viral. From the time I built my first until today, I've built over 1,000 instruments. They get shipped all around the world. Many of them were traded with other builders too. In fact, my collection got so big, I opened the Cigar Box Guitar Museum at Speal's Tavern near Pittsburgh. But, you know, it's still all about the music for me. One of my proudest accomplishments is performing with my group, Shane Speal's Snake Oil Band. If I had chosen to stop digging for that sound over 20 years ago, I wouldn't have done any of these things. It was through crafting that defined who I am. And it's given me the opportunity to meet amazing people. Remember Boz? Here we are together, jamming at the White Rose Bar and Grill one summer night, a year before he died. His daughter drove him from Detroit to York to sit in with me that night. It was a great jam. And here it is, my very first cigar box guitar. After 22 years of this stuff, I feel like I've only scratched the surface. There's always more songs to sing and more instruments to build. And there's always more sounds to search. Thank you.